town you never heard of. Hey everybody, welcome to the Common Folk Podcast with Ben, Morgan, and Andy.
All right, welcome back to Common Folk
Podcast for the people, by the people, right?
That's right. Got you over on number 4 today. I got to get used to that.
Ooh, okay.
Got to adjust your volume a little bit.
Am I a little loud?
Pitchy,
I'm a little pitchy.
Radio voice over there kicking it off. So we're still on the road. Mm-hmm. Just right down the street from the house Andy grew up in, actually.
Yeah. Just up the road from Klassen Farms.
Yeah, you guys come by here to fix fence sometimes. Even.
Well, yes, we do.
Yes.
There's a lot of fence to fix. And, we saw some of that earlier today.
Andy was trying to recruit us for it earlier. He was trying to make it sound all like awesome. Like, he's like,
I just threw it out
we're going to get out here. We're just going to do this fence. It's going to be so magical. You guys are just going to enjoy it. We're going to have so much fun.
Like, you get you and your son and a buddy. And we got a post pounder, so it's no big deal.
Yeah,
right. You know, right?
Until it turns to 100 degrees, and then it is a big deal.
Right. Well, you threw in that we got to use the gloves.
Yeah.
I mean,
our show sponsor.
One of our show
we
sponsors
got to get content for
Watson
that.
Gloves.
Yeah.
So Andy's like, okay, we can outfit everybody with these gloves. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It didn't work though.
I'm still working on it.
We'll see.
The pitch is in
morning.
progress. It's still in progress. Yeah, I just threw it out there earlier today. So, no, but I'm stoked to be here.
Well, you had to take advantage of that opportunity. You got to give a shout out to Watson Gloves.
Yes,
and then we get that out of the way.
Yeah, we got that. We're there.
Yeah.
We're there with that.
Check them out on the Farm Focused website, farmfocused.com.
Yeah. No,
discount code CommonFolk, 20% off.
And you even get the discount code. See that? We're like a real podcast here.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on.
No, but we talked about taking the show on the road. We're continuing our tour, like what we're calling it, and this might be my favorite one. We've had a couple really good ones already, under our belt, but we're really getting to the grassroots here. With a young couple. We're going to call you guys a young couple.
Some days.
We're out here. You don't get much more rural than Lynch or Bristow, Nebraska. And what are we, about 2 miles, 3 miles south of Bristow?
Yep, 2 miles off the highway. Yep.
Off Highway 12 here.
Yep.
And we got Tanner and Sherry Black. And did you guys date in high school?
Yep.
This is a true love. This is like a Taylor Swift song. This is a true love story.
So how old were you when you started dating?
Junior. I was a junior in high school.
Oh my gosh, that's us. We were junior year. You were sophomore.
You guys too?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We were 17.
Wow.
That was probably about how old I was.
Okay.
I don't remember. Whatever I was when I was a junior.
That's funny.
She was out on the farm just tending to the chickens, and you saw her and you couldn't resist,
I didn't
and you were like,
grow up on a farm.
that chicken lady, I got to go meet that chicken lady.
Yeah. Well,
I guess I drew him out here because he didn't grow up on a farm.
The fact that there was 9 in my class and 10 in your class, so we pretty much knew each other forever. But as Andy knows, you know everybody in school in Lynch, so.
No.
So Tanner and Cherry, the farm's called TNS Farms.
It is, yep.
What's obviously we know what the TNS is. What's the N?
Well, that's because it's supposed to be, but we went through a whole process with the Secretary of State,
okay.
and that was taken, and so it was a big process.
I gotcha.
It's just a space holder, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, just the little N. I
Right.
saw the sign. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is true. That's a hectic deal to get through. Then sometimes.
Really?
It
Because somebody
took
already
18
had a TAND.
Yes. Yeah, and there's Nebraska has a deceptive law, where it can't look like, sound like, or be spelled similar to.
Even though it was completely different, products and
So then did you throw out other names?
Too? Yeah, 18 of them, and they finally approved. Yeah, it's not fun to get a business name unless it's some odd random thing. So our farm store is T&S Farm Store and Food Coop, but so that a trade name can be similar, but your actual LLC. Corporation or whatever has to be not look like, sound like, be spelled like anything.
And so that
LLC.
part of your guys' business, the TNS Farms, is that an LLC?
That's
it
the
is.
LLC.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we do business under TNS Farm Store and Food Coop. So
because you do more than just TNS Farms. do you put up hay? How many acres of
yep. So we do
alfalfa.
Yep, alfalfa, corn, and soybeans, and then a beef cattle operation. So,
then
we do our own.
There is a lot going on there.
It's just
it kind of stresses me out thinking about it. How do you guys even manage this? I'm
well,
just like, holy
there's
cow.
There's always something to do, I guess.
We're always busy.
Yeah.
I feel like there's never a dull moment.
But you
here.
probably don't have there's no vacation time, really.
When you have milk cows, they
need you every day.
Yeah.
365 days a year for the last.
Okay.
So
the babysitters can't really milk the cows. You can't really pay the babysitter.
That doesn't work.
Doesn't work too good.
I know.
So your kids need to get older so they can milk the cows, so you guys can go on vacation.
We don't have to worry about them having something to do when they get older.
That's
You're
right.
right.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we're getting somewhere.
True, yeah. So I don't know how you want to start this, but I guess for me, I'm just thinking about like the origins of it. So
that's exactly where I'd like to start, because I knew you guys were talking about moving out here to the old farmstead, right? This is your folks' place?
This is my grandparents' place,
Okay.
actually. Yep.
So do you have any idea about when they settled here?
It was.
Well, they built the house. That
Yeah.
was here, and
They
that was
built this house in the early 50s.
52,
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there was another house next to this, so it was It was probably in like the late 40s, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
when they first started. Yeah.
And then this actual farmstead, this property kind of sat vacant for a little while, and then you guys moved out? No?
So no, her grandpa lived here, and then he went to the nursing home, and then it wasn't even a year, and then we remodeled it and moved in here. So
yeah, because this is a beautiful home.
So we've been here since we've lived in here since
18.
Yeah, or the end of 17. Yep.
18, yeah. So for folks who aren't watching the YouTube video, we're sitting in your dining room at your dining room table. This is the area that you added on to the house. You said the original house.
The original house. Yep.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
So did you? Oh, you got a question? Go ahead. Did you? So did you guys officially start like 17, 18-ish? Is that what you're saying? Here?
Yeah. Well, and we moved back here in 14, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we lived in her parents' house for a little bit, and then
we started working
here,
on this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was even before. I don't remember.
No, I graduated in December of 2014.
Yeah, no, but I think we moved into this house before 18.
Yeah, we did, because we lived in the
I think it was
old
like 2016.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems like a long time ago.
Yeah. When did you officially establish the business? I guess. Well, we were talking about with all the naming and all that.
Yeah. So that was just this year.
Okay.
That we did when we opened that barn and stuff,
Gotcha.
and we had when we did all the free range hens and stuff. That was just under our regular, unincorporated farm, I guess, at that point. But yeah, so the ag part of our farm isn't technically under TNS Farms. We just kept that to like the raw milk and that kind of stuff, to keep that a little bit separate, because everything just gets kind of rolled into one if you don't keep it a little bit separate.
So for about a year now, you've been running the TNS dairy farm, so you got milk cows, you offer raw milk, you have eggs.
Yep, farm fresh.
And that all started like within the last year, or you just kind of worked into it slowly?
Yeah, we just when we started that, the commercial kitchen and stuff, that's been within the last year. The raw milk we've sold for
this will be the third
year of the raw milk. So yeah, and then probably year 8 or 9 for the raw, or for the eggs.
And you were talking about the number of head of cattle you have or dairy cows you have, I just think about stuff around Omaha or Lincoln. That's in such high demand, and the more you learn about it, the more you hear it's really healthy for you, like a superfood or whatever they would call it. Mm-hmm. I would think you guys could have 100 head of cattle and not have a problem getting rid of raw milk and some of these.
Right. If it was the
ice cream
close to the city.
How much ice cream do you have on hand? Because I want to get after that.
There's a lot in there. But there's a little bit.
It goes pretty quick.
Fast.
I remember when your grandma would come to our daycare with that homemade ice cream, and it would be Butterfinger, Snickers. Oh my God! Do you have any of that?
Oh my God! Sandy's like not kidding.
There's some out there. I don't know what's out there for sure. It goes fast.
Oh, I honestly can't say I've ever had raw milk.
We
can
hook it up.
I would love to
give you a
try
taste.
It.
Yeah, it's good. Like, so we.
Is it an acquired taste?
No,
I just keep thinking it's going to be like chunky.
No.
Oh no.
Okay.
No, like it's.
No.
There's a lot of people that like just kind of get it for a treat, because it's. I don't know. It's way more wholesome than store milk. Like I don't like store milk. Once you've had this, now it's like you don't want to go back. So I don't know if you want to try it or not, unless you have an outlet.
But you would, like, you use this with cereal. Like, it's literally, it's not too thick. I just keep thinking it's so thick.
No.
Okay.
So the way, like...
You take the cream off.
Yeah, we take most of the cream off.
Okay.
Most people around here buy it with the cream off because they don't want all the fat. Well, technically, that's where a lot of, like, the nutrients and positive things in milk is in the fat for you. Like, when you buy milk from the store, they add, back vitamin D and vitamin A and stuff. Well, you don't have to do that if you just drink it, right? Like, it's a pretty wholesome
like it's
thing.
Supposed to be. Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't get into this necessarily for all the benefits. We kind of found that afterwards. So our kids drink a lot of milk. Like, we were buying like 5 or 6 gallons a week, and I'm like, this is stupid. Well,
wow.
I didn't realize all the work I was getting into, and I was like, oh, hey, let's get a cow. So
let's make it easier.
So you started with one? Like, typically that's normally what happens.
Yeah, it's kind of an addiction.
Wow. And it's manifested into how many?
Yeah. We have 7 right now. So, but then we kind of saw all the benefits. Like, a couple of our kids had eczema, and like that went away, and we were like, well, that's weird. Well, we looked at it, and it's true. Like, it can help eczema. Like, there's just a lot of positive things. Like,
of course.
Like bloating. Like, when I would drink milk, like, I kind of pretty much quit just because, like, I always felt really bloated and stuff. And, like, with this milk, doesn't bother me a bit.
Really? Huh.
And then there's a bunch of people that you hear that are like lactose intolerant, or they won't. And I would say close to half of the people we sell milk to are lactose intolerant, but they can drink this milk because of the beta caseins in the milk, which get removed during pasteurization. So they can drink this milk, and I mean, they don't go crazy on it, but they can. They'll drink.
They can still have some.
Yeah.
So people roll up to the farm and then shop here.
Yep, they can. So we let.
Is it in the market? Any markets or no?
It's not legal in Nebraska to do that. So it needs to be picked up on the farm. So we let people come like all week and whenever
by appointment.
Yeah. So they have a certain day of the week that they pick it up usually, and the store's only open on the weekends for that kind of stuff in there unless they have a special order.
Yeah. But, and you showed us the kitchen, and you got a big order of cookies going on. What else comes out of there?
We do a lot of pies, breads, dinner rolls, bars, all kinds of stuff.
Do you do like jams and jellies and stuff?
We'll start doing some of those.
Okay.
Yep, as we just picked some choke cherries.
Yep. All right.
This last weekend, and
I would always have to pick those choke cherries too out in the pastures, and then Sherry Shaw in town would.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like a 2/3, 1/3. Like you get all this, choke cherries, and she would get to keep 2/3 of it, and you'd get 1/3 of it. So it was worth it. I mean, that's some good jelly.
Yeah, that's tedious job picking those.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Just finished canning like a bunch of green beans, beets, made some pickles. I don't know,
and you put that all on the shelf here at the.
It's sitting there now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Coming out of your garden.
Yep.
Straight.
Yep. Everything's came out of the garden.
That was one of our biggest pushes for doing this kitchen, was putting more on ourselves, but trying to grow or produce as much of the food that we use in there as we can. So all of our beef cattle, we feed them out here. All of our operation is drug-free natural. So all the cattle we feed, that's what we use, the beef in the store. We do buy the chicken, and then we get the pork from a local producer.
USDA
and then we have to take it to a locker, and that's USDA inspected to sell it out of there. So,
So from the business standpoint, was there something that you guys originally set out to do? When you decided you were going to do this, were you like, okay, this is what our business is going to be, this is what we're going to go after? Like, I know you said you kind of stumbled into the milk thing because you were doing that out of necessity, but was there an original plan for something, and then it's turned into a bunch of other things?
One would think so, but really it's kind of just that's what everybody's like. What was your business plan? How'd you just
honestly, I think it just started off as these are all things we were doing for our family anyways. These are all things that I would be making for us anyways, or, he would be milking for, for the kids for their drink or whatever. So I guess we just decided to share it with other people because they were interested in it.
And when we first started milking, we were just milking in that open face shed out there, and we milked 2 winters in there. It's pretty miserable some times when it's 20 degrees out and you're trying to milk a cow. But so then we built that new barn, and there was a room left. And one day I just kind of kidded. I'm like, well, what should we do with this area? I was like, what about putting a kitchen in? So now we have.
So that's kind of what it was. These ideas just kind of started popping up. Let's add this. Let's add this.
Yeah. That's a nice kitchen, isn't it?
And now it's small. Like it's full now. Like we thought we were gonna have gobs of room. And
do either of you guys have a separate job off the farm?
So we both do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
So I teach family and consumer sciences in Spencer for Boyd County Public Schools.
Okay.
You'll be going part time.
I'll go to part time this coming fall. So.
Yeah, and I farm and ranch full time, and then I'm also a registered nurse at the hospital down here. I just work a couple days a month. So, yeah, those are off the farm jobs.
That's usually the case. I mean, usually folks are doing something else off the farm, almost out of necessity a lot of times.
Yeah,
but
it's not. Yeah, I do it just it's enough to keep up my license.
Yep.
And I hope we never use it.
Your original family business turned his head earlier. We drove by Specialties and More.
Yep, that's my parents.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. They kept you pretty busy there, didn't they?
Yeah.
Probably pretty good at screen printing, aren't you?
No.
You're not?
I tried to stay out of there. My brother is, but I tried. Yeah, that really wasn't my favoriteest thing, but
that's cool. So yeah, I guess I was kind of curious on how these businesses come together, but you guys kind of answered that. So today, what is the majority of what you guys are doing today? I think we've kind of like danced around a bunch of it. So you have the raw milk that you're harvesting and you're selling. You're selling farm fresh, free range chicken eggs.
Yep.
Also from what we found out, I think to the local grocery store as well. So you're providing
grocery store, hospital, and the cafe in Spencer.
Okay. Oh, wow. And then what else do you have going on? You talked a little bit about this kitchen. What's that kind of all about?
So she does a lot of like special order stuff during the week, and then on Sundays we have like a hot lunch special, which we serve anywhere from 25 to the most. Last weekend was the most, and there were 64 meals on Sunday, and people come out to get it. So we obviously don't have any seating in there, so it's all to go.
Yeah.
But
so how early are you prepping for all that? I mean, that morning or days before?
No.
Usually you start on Thursday.
I usually start on Thursday and pretty much go through Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like day and night.
Yeah, there's a lot of late nights out there.
When it's just, I mean, we don't have any employees in there. Like it is just
your mom helps some.
Yep, my mom helps some with the prep work.
Do either of you guys have background in like culinary at all, or this is just something you've learned as you grew up?
I guess I've just always had a love for it. I spent many days, I guess, in this kitchen watching my grandma cook and bake and stuff. And so I guess I kind of just have a love for it. And
when we were talking to Andy's family earlier, they were telling us a little bit about what you guys were doing. And I think your mom was saying something about like there was some specialty pork dish they currently have or something. And she was like, I was just getting the impression that there was like some of these unique things that they're not used to seeing, and they just thought it was so cool.
That might have been this week.
It's probably this week, the marinated pork.
Yeah.
That's just, those are just all things that I guess I've just came up with, practiced myself, and I don't know. I maybe have a little bit like of a knack
serving
it, I guess.
60 people.
And you try and mix it up. It sounded like to me like what Mom was saying was, it's not just always fried chicken and mashed potatoes.
Right.
Something. I don't think
it's usually a variety.
The same thing yet,
no, I think we've had something new every week since we've started.
Some of the you do some cold take and bake stuff so that pizza,
beef enchiladas or pizza,
that kind of stuff. Some of
that kind of stuff too.
So would you like to do this full time? I mean, it's basically full time now, but since you're doing the other stuff part time teaching, would you ever like to let that go or no?
This will be the first year.
This will be the first year I went part time. Last year was still full time. So.
But would you ever let that go?
I don't know. I mean, it might have crossed my mind before. Yeah.
From one small business owner to another, is part of that decision what makes it tough is things like benefits and health insurance and stuff like that.
Yeah. The school has obviously benefits.
That's what would keep me.
That's what a lot of people don't realize, and we interview a lot of entrepreneurs, but a lot of people don't realize those things until they get their feet wet in entrepreneurship, and all of a sudden the value of those things that you've been getting all the time, how much that stuff really costs. If you're out there trying to buy it on your own on the open market, it's ridiculous. I mean, you got 3 kids, you have all the things going on that you have going on. It'd cost you probably more than you make, on the farm just to pay for dang health insurance.
Crazy. Well, my parents, like you were talking about, they've been since 90, they did that. And like every year they just seen exponentially in health insurance, and now they're old enough they're on Medicare. But, at the end there, they were paying like, I think it was like $26,000 a year just for them too. Like that was after we were already gone. So it was like that takes a lot of, year right off the top.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's.
And it's something you got to have,
Yeah.
You
right.
better not have it.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Go
No.
ahead.
I was going to say earlier, I was taking some videos of, because we have a few chickens. I mean, I say a lot. It's not a lot compared to what they have. They have like hundreds. And it's so impressive to me. And that the dog, I was just laughing that our dogs go after the chickens. No. Like, you have your dog just roaming with the chickens.
I think too that's what happens with, and we've experienced this with the dogs in general, because my parents have just a small kind of 40-acre area. It's mostly woods, and we've got chickens and dogs and horses and things like that. And you find out, like, when you let the animals just kind of do their thing, everything starts working.
Yep.
But the problem that we have is that the chickens are in their coop. They don't get let out like your guys' do, primarily because of the dogs. Right. But it's like each one of those things makes the other one worse. Like if we would just let them do it, I think they would eventually get over it and everything would be cool. But right now they're
maybe I don't know. So like
you could run into some trouble, but
run into So we've had lots of dogs over the years, but so we bought a Pyrenees. Well, I don't know, long time ago.
Now?
Yeah, about the same age as Carson. And he's great with the animals. It's just he's not.
He's too protective almost.
There's a lot of training that goes into that. So they have to learn their boundaries, and he doesn't really know his boundaries well. So he has to be penned up with the animals. Like he's happy in there, but you let him out and he's going a little further than what we like. Yeah. So I don't know. I wish we would have known more about it when we started, but there's a lot of stuff that goes into, like you said, if they can just be together and be left alone, sometimes that's for the best.
Yeah, just kind of how it comes together.
How many chickens do you guys have?
Oh, there's probably a little over, maybe a little less than 400. I don't know.
400?
Holy
don't
cow.
keep track. Yeah, that's part of them. There's more across the road.
And then there's some pullets back here too
but
that saves with.
And we can't keep up. Like,
we run out of eggs every week.
All the time. Yeah, there's...
Wow.
We still can't keep up.
No, there's...
Yeah,
between the cafe and the grocery stores, and then like people take it with their milk. They can get their eggs and milk at the same time, and we.
And then we use them in the kitchen. I mean that.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing. Like when that started, she goes through. There's, I don't know, it's nothing. Go through probably 6 or 7 dozen in a couple days out there.
Oh sure.
Which I don't know. It takes a lot of eggs.
What sidebar? Because you always hear people talk about this, and we've always gone back and forth with chicken eggs. Do you guys believe in just like don't refrigerate them, just take them right out, put them in the case, just serve them that way, or what's your method?
As long as they're not washed.
Yep.
As long as they're just picked out of the nest and put on the counter or wherever, they're fine. They have their own protective bloom on them. Yeah. But if they're washed, because they're dirty or something, then
they need refrigerated.
They stay out. If they're like they could stay out for a couple weeks.
Yeah,
that's what I've always heard, but I didn't know if that's actually true. In the United States,
we're the only ones that actually refrigerate eggs. Like we're the only country that do. So we're like the eggs that we sell to like the cafe, the grocery stores. Those have to be washed, and we have to have an egg number and all that stuff, and be refrigerated. For our use here, we don't refrigerate them, but because they're here like 2 days and they're gone. But America's the only. As far as I know, the only nation that refrigerates
their eggs. They sit on the shelf otherwise, just because they don't wash them.
Perishable.
That's interesting. Yeah. Do you have to keep the fresh raw milk refrigerated?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So that's
important.
The faster I can get it cold, the longer it's going to last. So we have people that'll drink it up to over 2 weeks. I don't know. We've never. The longest we've kept it, I think, was 12 days, and I tasted it, and it tasted fine. But the biggest thing is keeping it cold. So, not putting it in the door of the refrigerator, putting it in the back of the fridge, and not letting it set out during breakfast. Pour your cereal.
Now, what does the cold do? I mean, obviously, people want cold milk.
Yeah. So there's lactobacillus in milk, in raw milk, and when it's pasteurized, that kills that. So that keeps the milk better longer because it's naturally occurring and it's not bad for you. but lactobacillus like thrives on sugar, and there's sugar in milk, naturally occurring sugar. So that will make it taste less sweet. It almost a little bit tangy. Yep. So raw milk never actually gets rotten like you would in the fridge. It just gets less sweet.
Check out our fridge a couple weeks ago. It gets rotten.
Well, that's pasteurized
That's
milk.
pasteurized.
So raw milk won't get rotten like that. Like it just gets like less sweet. I mean, eventually it's going to turn to curds and and people do that cheese. On purpose. Like they'll actually leave raw milk set out on the counter.
It's cottage cheese then, right?
Yeah, it makes cheese.
Yeah. There's and then once you the other thing about raw milk is if you don't get it drank up, you can cook it and that tanginess goes away. So like people, if they don't get it drank, they'll make pudding out of it or whatever, and then that tanginess is gone.
So do you guys do that? Because you were talking about earlier that sometimes you can't. It's hard to manage like how much milk and people are going to purchase.
So we can't like in the store over there. We can't use raw milk because it's not legal in Nebraska since that's a licensed kitchen. So we actually have to
for people
buy milk to cook out there with.
Oh, you do?
We do. Yep. So it's not legal for us to use raw milk out there. So we still buy milk to use out there.
Okay.
But for ourselves.
But so your raw milk doesn't go bad. Like, would you ever, go bad. Would you ever make cottage cheese out of it? Do you make cheese out of it? Do you do the things? Yes, all of it.
Mozzarella cheese and all that stuff.
You've seen that new trend that everyone uses like cottage cheese and makes like a tortilla, like a pita thing?
Oh yeah,
have you not? It like looks super good. Anyways,
we haven't tried that, but no, we just eat the cottage cheese and you make the curds and you just pour cream over it. Essentially, is what cottage cheese is. But
I don't know.
We use
make our own butter. We make a lot of butter.
I feel like raw milk is such a touchy subject. Do you have you guys just been down so many roads of so many battles with random things at all, or what's it been like for you?
No,
so far, not yet.
No, we haven't had we've never had anybody be like, you guys shouldn't be doing that, or no. Even I've never, like, on social media, I'm fairly active with some of the other raw milk producers, and they rarely get that either. Yeah. It's and the state really doesn't want to fight the fight. Like they have plenty of other things. And as long as you're following the rules and like people are aware that it's raw and they can make that decision for themselves, it's fine.
For me, living where we live, and we're, close to a real small town there, but we're also close to Omaha. So we've got, it's a different lifestyle than what you guys are living out here, really, all things considered. Do you think how you're connected with the industry, do you think this kind of thing is happening a lot and people just it's just not getting talked about? People don't realize it. Like in a lot of these small towns all over, there is somebody doing this, and there is a lot of locals consuming this raw milk.
I would say not so much the raw milk. I mean, I know there used to be somebody over by Atkinson that used to do raw milk, and I don't think they do anymore. There is a few that like they have one cow and they milk for their family, and maybe like they give it to a couple other families. But as far as like a business where they do that, there really isn't.
There's not very many in Nebraska even.
There's a couple. Yeah, you can look on Real Milk. Yeah, realmilk.com, which is actually a Weston A. Price Foundation website. And Weston A. Price is big into raw milk and like getting all the facts out there and stuff, which don't agree with governmental facts. Like they do not want people drinking this. Like that's it. They don't want that. And he did a whole bunch of research into all that, and it's kind of a cool website to look at. But yeah, there's some bigger ones though, like down by Lincoln, the Little Red Farm. They sell a ton of it too. I mean, the cities are a huge outlet. There's a lot of people in the cities that want raw milk,
fresh stuff. Yeah.
So yeah,
I just feel like a lot of the people that we talk to and a lot of the interviews we do, we always talk about the fact that, I mean, the podcast is called Common Folk because we're talking to kind of the silent majority. It's the common people out there, across the United States and beyond. And I just have this hunch that a lot more of this goes on than we think. But it's the silent majority. Yeah. They're not out talking about it. They're not bragging about it. They don't care. We're doing our thing. Right. Like, leave us alone.
And we don't. It's not that we strive for that attention because it's like you said, it's just the silent. Like we don't want people out here be complaining about or we're raising all these questions and they're not being forced to buy any of it. Rarely do we get somebody that buys it once and doesn't come back, honestly. And we had a family from Norfolk that used to come every other week and buy like 7 gallons or something for a kid that was sick or whatever. And they don't do that anymore. I haven't heard from them for a while.
He's not sick anymore.
Yeah, maybe fix him. That's
the issue.
Probably did.
So it's hard to find. I mean, they were coming from quite a ways.
Without going into too much detail, and we don't need to spend the whole rest of the podcast on this, but do you have any general thoughts as to why, you mentioned earlier, the government doesn't want people doing this? Do you have any general thoughts as to why?
I wish I could remember. There's a great, I think it was originally a podcast too, about why, and I can't remember what that was. What the reason, I'm not going to say because I don't remember what it was. It's been a while ago that I listened to it.
It just seems to me, and I haven't dug into it, but it has to do with, obviously, there's some kind of hand in that industry. So it always goes back to money. Somebody stands to lose money somewhere. Yeah.
Well,
the health benefits that we talked about.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of, I'm just going to say it, pharmaceutical companies and types like that who would prefer you not to be real healthy, so you can continue to buy their stuff, and they have their hands in the pockets of the people making the decisions and these kinds of things. That's just my guess.
And it's no different than in the, the fed cattle industry. I don't know exactly what the number is, but there's very few milk corporations left, just like JBC and Tyson. There's the big 3 Packers or whatever. It's no different than I think it's I don't remember what the abbreviations are, but anyway, around here there's like one corporation that buys all the milk from this area, and they control the rate and I mean, these people that do commercial dairies, like they're struggling. It's hard to make a go of it now. And there's several. I mean, we had one dairy that I know of, and there's one other one up on the western side of the county, and they quit milking here this year. Just like it just wasn't worth it, all the work going into it and the little return. So
just too much. Okay.
Yeah, and the freight the freight's killing them. I think he said the freight, as of the first of the year, doubled, like just flat doubled of January 1st. Yeah.
I understand that it's probably small potatoes in the grand scheme of things, with what you guys are doing as far as the whole industry, but the bottom line is that it's a threat to that big money. Yeah. Because if so many people started doing what you guys are doing, right, then they're going to have trouble.
Yeah. Well, and we're all for like us, the grocery stores in this area, like, because we buy a ton of food from the grocery stores for out there at the barn. But if you just consider how much milk that we sell a week, like if they were buying it at local grocery stores, it was, it's some weeks, I don't know, 50 some gallon of milk. Well, that's a fair amount that isn't going out of the grocery. Yeah. So like you say, in the grand scheme of things, it could make a big difference.
Yeah. If there was one of you guys on every quarter, that's going to take a huge cut out. Mm-hmm. And then you scale it up. You're talking about these commercial dairies, like, what is it? West Point still has one? Is it West Point or Wisner?
I know there's several dairies down there. Because of the Norfolk has that Highland plant down there.
Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. But as soon as one of those topples over, that allows for that consolidation to happen, even that, where it really narrows down to only 2 or 3 superpowers. And I mean, that just puts more of a stranglehold even on the government safe milk industry.
And it just goes back to the consumer. Like they're, just paying more for, and the person that makes it's getting less.
So is raw milk more expensive than I would expect that, but
it is. So we sell our whole milk, which the reason we call it whole milk is because it's similar to red top milk in the store, which is called whole milk. So the majority of our cream is skimmed off that, and then we sell full cream milk, which is just right out of the cow. And the full cream milk we sell for $10 a gallon, and the whole milk we sell for $8.
Gotcha.
And everybody's like, oh, that's, not everybody. I shouldn't say that. That's not true. There's we've had a couple people be like, oh man, that's a lot. Most people are totally fine with it.
Mm-hmm. Once they know.
The couple people that said they're like, oh, you guys are getting rich off that. I was like, you have no clue. Like,
we hand it to like skim milk, the purple top or pink top stuff. It's garbage.
There's a ton of work that goes into this, and all of our milk is sold in glass. So we have to, you go out and buy a half-gallon glass jar, and that's $3. So that costs us $3 to buy. So then, and it takes 2 of them to make a gallon. So that's $6 in glass we have right there. Well, if right now we're like, most of our people are really local, so we don't usually charge jar deposits, just, honesty that they bring it back. Well, if they don't bring them back, or, they happen to get broke or whatever, like it takes, that's more inputs. So it's, it takes that $10 to, and then, a cow's.
A Red Ryder BB gun might find one of those bottles.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Oh, sounds like Andy's done this before.
You're talking about, there's 2 ways I want to go with that, and I'll try and stomp both of them. But first off, we're talking about the health benefits. You start getting into storing things in plastics and microplastics. That alone, having it in glass, is a huge advantage right there. That, it's just kind of one of the things that happens along with just doing things, we'll call it the right way, and then you're talking about the costs, the glass costs a lot. That's also like a small part of it. I mean, we haven't even talked about the dairy cows.
That's what I was getting.
Are your cows free? They're not free cows?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
We wish.
Yeah. And that's a whole nother, a person could talk about this all day, honestly, but like, that's a whole nother thing, buying the dairy cow, but then you have to, for us to provide milk all year, like we have to watch their cycling, and they have to get pregnant at a certain time. So we have at least 3 in milk all the time. And dairy cows are notorious for being hard to breed back, especially if they're high producers. And
see, I didn't know any of this. Yeah.
So it's not like a beef cow you can just throw a bull out with, and they'll cycle once and they breed.
Yeah.
For the 90% of the time. So yeah, we go through opens, and
I noticed you had some calves in with your cows right now. I thought, and this is just dummy me, I don't know, I thought the dairy cows, as soon as it has a calf, you pull that calf off.
You can't. So we do sometimes.
Because I want to drink that milk. Not the calves.
Yeah, we rarely do a bottle feed. Normally,
we usually have one nurse cow.
Yeah, nurse cow. So we'll throw 4 calves on her, and they can feed 4 calves. A milk cow can.
Oh, what? Oh my God!
See?
Once in a
so
while,
much today, guys.
Once in a while,
so Sherry, this was your grandparents' right house. Do you have siblings?
I have one sister.
Okay, did she not fight you for this place or what?
No, she didn't. I guess we get along pretty well, and so I was the older sister, and she's 6 years younger than me, actually.
Okay.
And so I guess I was done with college first and knew that I was coming back here, and so it kind of just...
Does she live out this way, though, and kind of do
No, she actually lives in Bloomfield.
Okay.
She's an RN, and she works at the hospital in Creighton, so...
It's just always interesting to me, sibling dynamics. There's always got to be, I feel like, one that, well, we only have 2. We have 3 kids, but one that probably wouldn't want to be in the business, or, you know what I mean? Like, you always hope, right? You have 3 children that they're eventually all going to want to stick around and help, but what if they don't,
and her significant others, he farms, so, she's still in the industry, and so.
So I get excuse me, I could ask Morgan a question. Did you just see a squirrel or something? We were talking about milk. You just sidebarred us.
She was thinking about that question for a while.
She's like, I'm tired of talking about milk. What's your siblings like?
It was so interesting. And then I was thinking, I wonder if her sister wanted to do this. How did she land on this awesome?
We got to stay on track here. Okay.
And so that's another, so her sister, their family, when they come here, they drink raw milk. And then when they go back, they just drink store milk. So it's easy to switch back and forth. There's not, and you can try it after we're done here.
Yeah.
It's not that you can't go back and forth at all. Yeah. But.
So I do have one last question in regards to the milk, because I had heard this and I wasn't sure. Is it true that the dark cows make the chocolate milk?
No.
I've heard that too, but unfortunately we have not yet found a chocolate cow.
That hasn't happened. Kahlua has not given us that chocolate milk yet.
That's what they now this is funny, but it's also scary at the same time. I looked into that.
Yeah.
7% of the nation believes that brown cows make chocolate milk.
Oh, I would believe that.
Now, when and that sounds okay. Yeah, it's just 7%, right? 93% of people understand that that's not right. That's malarkey. But then you look at the number of what 7% of our nation is, 340 million.
Yeah.
That's millions and millions of people think that brown cows make chocolate milk.
I bet that percentage would be higher, the ones that think that you can milk bulls too, because
they
don't.
Yeah.
People,
a cow's a cow.
People
right?
don't. Yeah.
Well, I mean, nowadays.
Yeah.
This is a progressive TNS Farms.
This just got deep.
Talk about me squirreling. Yeah. Hello. Go. Yeah, I definitely knew you didn't milk bulls.
Well, there's
some people that don't know that.
What movie was that? Kingpin?
I mean, isn't a bull a male?
Where
like,
the guy's like, I milked your cow. Like, we don't have a cow. We got a bull.
A serious question, though. Can you do anything with dairy cows in terms of meat? So, like,
sure.
Because I've heard, the reason I'm asking this question is because I had heard from this guy that we worked with on our Farm Focused website who was down in Georgia, and he was exploring this whole idea of when dairy cows were done, that they were butchering these cows and they were, getting traditional cuts of meat out of them. And he was showing pictures of these steaks and these roasts and things that they were getting, and they were beautiful. And he was like, man, this meat is phenomenal. Now, I don't know what kind of cow it was.
There'd be way less marbling in it. We've never butchered a dairy cow yet. Or I shouldn't say cow yet. A dairy cross of anything yet. Mm-hmm. There would be way less marbling in it. It would be, way more lean. But, like I said, dairy cows are notoriously hard to breed back. That a lot of our food chain in beef would be of dairy or dairy cross of some kind.
So it's already in the food chain, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. There's a mass. Yep. I mean, I don't know what that percentage would be, but a dairy cow culling is very high in commercial dairies because they don't breed back very well. And that, those go directly into the food chain. Okay. And they're not going into dog food and stuff. They're, going into human consumption. Like you're going to see steaks cut out of these cows because they're, for a dairy cow to produce high quality milk, like they're fed only the best. Like right. You'll see beef cattle feed yards, and if there's some grains that are on the rough side or whatever, they go into those rations. That never goes into dairy cattle rations.
And I think that's what this guy was getting at, was like how pampered these animals are, how well they're taken care of. And then when it comes time for end of life, like, let's put that to use as well. Yep. And he said it was awesome. Yeah. But I didn't know if you guys, if anybody around here was doing anything like that.
No. I mean, it would be hard in this area to pin it down to a dairy critter unless we took one and had it butchered and try it. And I guess we haven't. I mean, we have one. I have one now in the feed yard, I guess, that hasn't bred and whatever, and she'll get culled. But I guess it never crossed my mind to butcher ourselves and just see. But it would be interesting. I mean, it's part of life. Like, it's part of the food chain, and like that's what cattle are made for.
Yeah, and you're talking about being pampered. So your dairy cows never have to put up with first cut hay. Right,
it's all third or fourth. Yeah, silage. Wet corn. Like they can just swallow it essentially.
So I had these guys out on the side by side earlier today, driving through our pastures, and we had DK's cows. We just moved to a new square, and I think they're spoiled because they're up to their head in brand new brome grass. I'm like, these cows are so freaking spoiled, and then your cows are on a whole other level.
My beef herds like that too, but and it's only the cows that are milk that get spoiled like that. So you can't have a bred dairy cow that's dry. So you have to dry them off like 2 months. They'll be in milk when they're pregnant, and then you have to dry them off like 2 months before they calf, and then they got to go to a less quality food. Otherwise, they just get fat, which sounds okay, but it's not. Yeah, like that runs into issues when it's time for them to calve again.
Sure, keep them in shape. Good shape, healthy shape.
Yep.
Were you guys in business during the pandemic?
We didn't have milk cows then. Nope. Okay. Just had the eggs then.
Just had eggs.
Did you see? And I guess even with that, because what my question was going to be was, what, if anything, did that change for your business during that time frame?
I would say the only thing I remember was we had more people that were not normal customers asking.
We had a really long wait list. And partially it was for a wait list for the eggs, partially because sometimes the store wouldn't get their shipments of eggs. But, everybody's like, well, can we have eggs? Well, the chickens are, just because of COVID, they're not laying any more eggs. Right. So, like,
we can't
here we are. This is what they're going to lay. So, we just had to say no. I mean, it's hard. That's hard to, like, how many do you have? And that's something we never really ever have too much of, but there comes a point where you're like, where do we put all these birds? Yeah. So
did the 2019 flood didn't disrupt anything then either?
Not for us really. Up here. Yeah. I mean, we have some ground down along the river that we did, but
we were talking to David Barnes with the grocery store, and he goes, that was really kind of one of the final blows, was all the donations that came in to help the victims of the flood. Well, it's pretty hard to outsell free.
Yep.
You know, and there's a pallet of Gatorade and a pallet of the hall was full of food, snacks, blankets, jackets, backpacks. It was crazy.
And that was I was on the co-op board. Like, it's closed now, but we're anyway. And that was the same thing there. Like all those fencing donations and feed and stuff. We literally filled that feed shed full of free feed. Well, it's pretty hard to sell feed when there's free feed. Like that I don't know. That was just that whole thing was
hard situation
hard for this area. And like I think now. Or then, shortly after then, you saw some of the negative benefits of all that free stuff.
Yeah. I was covering the story, for NCN, and we were in Verdigris that day, and the mayor, he was pretty short with all these people coming in from Texas and everywhere else saying, hey, we got free labor for you. Oh, we got all this for you. And I'm like, well, man, you're kind of being a dick to these guys, but you kind of understand it. That was like 2 or 3 weeks in. Like, he was just over it.
And that lasted months.
Yeah. Just organizations just coming, and they mean well.
Right? That's what I was going to say.
Very well.
Yeah, they think they're helping.
Man, why would you buy a grain? Why would you buy feed when you're getting it for free?
Yeah, when they and what else did we do with it? Like I helped with that part of that, like the ag donations with the fencing and feed and stuff. I kind of headed that part up a little bit with another person, and like we wanted to we needed to get rid of that free stuff too. Like. So it was
use it.
I don't know. That was a headache. I hope that never happens again.
Yeah, me too. Well, it was a 100-year flood, so we got.
Unfortunately, we're seeing those often.
Yeah. 100-year flood that happens every 3 years. So.
Yeah. And which is kind of like going back to this a little bit. Like we are like trying to be. We're not preppers by any means, but like trying to be self-sufficient, like, and helping others, be that.
You guys are way more preppers than 99% of America. You have dairy cows, you have chickens. Get out of here.
Like we're not like conspiracy.
It's funny. It's funny that kind of thing now is called prepping, and not too long ago it was called regular life,
surviving.
Yeah, it was like just knowing how to be self-sufficient.
People are very interested in that, people are interested in
it's good
trying to and that's with the whole food thing, like not having all those preservatives and like stuff that you can't pronounce. So like literally everything she makes now, like you can pronounce ingredients,
you don't put yellow number 5 in your cookies?
Red number
That's my favorite dye.
60 or whatever. So there's, I don't know, just trying to get back to the basics, I guess.
That's awesome.
I think there's a lot of people thinking about that nowadays. Trying to figure out how to get back to the basics, exactly like you said.
So you guys supply to the hospital, grocery store, cafe, and Spencer.
The eggs,
And then would you say the majority of your business is people driving out to the farm, or is it that?
Well, the eggs, that's probably the majority of the eggs. I would suppose the higher percentage of the eggs, but the milk is all.
So how could people get on board and get your guys' milk, get your guys' eggs? I mean, just come out to Bristow and buy them, right?
Call or active on social media, TNS Farm Store and Food Coop.
We have a website.
Yeah.
tsfarms.square.site.
Yeah, that.
tsfarms.square.site.
Yeah. So then there's that's how a lot of people everything's on there, the milk, eggs, and then the stuff out in the farm store too. So that's how people on Sunday for the meals, a lot of people order ahead because we sell out most Sundays. Or we get enough to where we cut it off. So then if they bought ahead or whatever, then we save it for them.
Sure have it.
Which we try to do that because it's only 2 miles off the highway, but it seems like a lot if they drive out and be like, oh shoot, you don't get lunch, because there's really no place else to eat in the county. The cafe in Spencer is really the only other place to eat on Sundays, so in the whole county. Maybe there's a place in Butte, I think, but
what's you mentioned social media as well. What's your guys' preferred social media platform if folks wanted to find you?
We do Facebook or Instagram.
Okay, and what was it? It's
and the and sign S, Farm Store and Food Coop.
Okay.
Yep.
And I guess I just have one more question for you. You kind of alluded to it And you made mention, I mean, we kind of been talking about nostalgia and stuff, and me being back home here. How enjoyable or satisfying is it for you to get to cook in the kitchen when you were a little girl watching your grandma prepare and cook for your family?
It's probably, I guess, a dream that I had when I was really little, and just, I guess I'm living the dream that I always had envisioned for myself. I guess I wouldn't change anything.
That's
so
awesome. I mean, people say that all the time, living the dream.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. This isn't bullshit.
It's a lot of hard work, but it's
and we take
well
for
worth
granted.
it.
I think we take for granted being out here too. Like when we first opened the store, everybody's like, "Oh, it's such a pretty drive out here." It's like
beautiful. Yeah.
Going over the hills and seeing the cattle on the hills, and we're like, "Oh, we did it forever." But that made a person like when you're coming this way, be like, "Oh yeah, it is." Like if you just look off the road, it is pretty. I guess we take it for granted. We shouldn't, but we do.
Yeah, no, it's tough when you're in it every day.
Yeah.
What I guess the last thing that I would ask, because this is one of those interviews that I feel like when I'm thinking about it earlier, I don't really know what all to ask. I'm not sure what we're getting into, and I don't know if you guys had thought much about it beforehand.
Yeah, I asked Andy, and I was like, "Are we just shooting this from hip?" Yeah.
Right. Don't worry about it.
What is there anything that you were thinking of beforehand that you were like, "Oh man, we're probably gonna talk about this or talk about that you wish we would have"? Any questions that you wish we would have asked, or anything that you'd like to get out there about the farm or what you guys do or the industry in general?
I don't know.
No?
I wanted to ask, how involved are the little kids? I mean, do you try to take them out and they're helping with the eggs? Do they do a lot of chores and stuff too? And do they enjoy it?
They do. They absolutely love it. I would say Creighton, our middle child, he would stay outside with his chickens all day long, caring for them.
Yeah.
Carson and Coy, they both they love it.
Getting them to come in at night to take a bath, it's not easy.
Like they don't want to come in. Yeah. They would stay outside,
which is huge because we always talk about that. It starts young, right? You're having your kids do that. Right. I figured you guys were going to say that and not just have them on iPads in the house here. Yeah. Obviously they do that, I'm sure too, but that they're out running around. That's just
And it's cool to see. Like, so we have, you guys didn't see her, but like a registered miniature Jersey milk cow out there, Maggie, and like you can put kids on her and like they can ride her and stuff, and like so when little kids come out, it's fun to like bring her out and like their faces just light up. Like these kids don't get to experience that, and even kids around here, like probably more, but from the city we call it, other from not around here, like it's crazy that they get to experience something like that. So
that's a great question. It definitely creates a different type of child and a different type of adult, as they grow up, for sure. I mean, you can see it within seconds as we pull up here and watch your kids, interact with the animals and the land and all the things going on around them. It's just, it's very different.
Yeah. Your daughter, she's a go-getter. She knows about guineas. She knows her names. Oh man.
They're happy they're like, "Oh, fresh meat," when somebody drives in.
Yeah, they want to give it to her. They want to show everybody all their animals.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
You guys have them in like 4-H and stuff like that?
So that she could be in Clover's Kids this year, like so that they're not quite at that point yet. But she took some stuff to open class today. There was the county fairs this week. So
cool. Sounds perfect.
Awesome.
Well, any other questions?
No. I want to get in on this ice cream. So.
I think we're gonna go try the milk at least.
Yeah,
I'm kind of looking forward to that. Anything else from you?
No, just want to try the milk. Thank you. It was nice to meet you guys.
Thanks for coming out.
The tour.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. This is awesome.
Thanks for having us. I was hoping you guys would allow us to come out and talk with you, and I've just always been fascinated from where I'm at now, seeing what you guys are doing, and just really appreciate it. So
cool.
All right, cool. I'm gonna shut it down.
Later.
All right, peace.